Are you in love or are you in a trauma bond? For those that I've not met before, my name is Lily Walford. I'm the love and intimacy mentor here at Love with Intelligence. I wanted to dive into something really, really important because I think it really helps people to distinguish whether they are in a healthy relationship or something that is unhealthy, toxic, and extremely damaging. So, trauma bonds, because this is something that I don't see enough good information about. Trauma bonds tend to happen a lot in narcissistic relationships in particular, but they can happen in relationships that have a high level of manipulation and coercion. So, a few things to look out for when if you're questioning whether you are in something that is not healthy, is the way that you feel when you're away from your partner. Do you feel emotionally safe, or is there a level of anxiousness? Is there a level of not being able to trust your partner? Is there a level of neediness? Because these are things that I tend to see a lot in relationships where there is a trauma bond. So often there's neediness, there's desperation, there's anxiety, there's depression, there's brain fog. There can be things like just feeling uneasy or feeling a bit explosive. Hypervigilance tends to be another one, hypersensitivity. So there tends to be a lot of symptoms in a relationship where you can see that dynamic happening. So what is a trauma bond? How does it work? How does someone get into those kind of relationships? So what we find with a trauma bond is it's actually addictive. And there's a reason to this. Our brain produces serotonin and dopamine. Okay, our brain produces these chemicals and they are more addictive than a class A substance. So what tends to happen in the beginning stages of a trauma bond is that there will be a love bombing stage. So this is where you hear things like, oh, you're amazing. How did I not even meet you before? It feels like I've known you for ages. You are my person, all these different things. And what tends to happen is during all those compliments, your serotonin and dopamine rises. So when that happens, you get this wonderful high, which feels addictive. But in a trauma bond, it's often very short lived. And that high will automatically go down, whether there's feeling that person pull away, whether there's criticism, whether there's something negative happening in that relationship. So what happens is something called emotional fractionation. So you get the highs, you get the lows, you get the highs, you get the lows, you get the highs, you get the lows. And this is what causes that trauma bond, that addiction to that person, because that person becomes the only person that can make you feel good. And there's a reason behind that as well. So you have the beautiful love bombing process where you get addicted to that person with all the compliments, all those different things. The next thing you tend to have is the dependency. So what they will do is they will often push everyone around you away in some sort of way. So whether it's not liking your friends, whether it's pushing away your family members, it's pushing away everyone around you, okay, or making it very difficult for you to see those around you, because they want to be able to be your main source of feeling good. They will dislike it if they see you happy doing other things or being happy elsewhere. So you see this a lot. So you often find that people in trauma bonds will often become very, very isolated. The next thing that tends to happen whilst that person's isolated is that you end up noticing that this person becomes criticized. You're too needy. I don't like this about you. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? They'd often do name calling and things like that. So they'll be absolutely horrendous. So you end up with these lovely highs, huge lows, highs, lows. So, I love you, you're amazing. Oh no, you're the worst person on earth. Okay. So you end up with this high and low. Then what tends to happen is something called gaslighting. Now, gaslighting is when you have your reality distorted. It's almost like having someone around you who creates just creates almost like an alternative reality, basically. So it might be that if you suddenly you're noticing something or you're feeling something's off, and they'll know that you're picking up on it. They'll know that you're noticing something's wrong, but they will turn around to you and say, oh, no, nothing's wrong at all. No, don't be silly. You're just being needy, or you're being insecure, you're being this, you'll often be blamed and redirected when it comes to being gaslit. You know, it'd be things like, oh, I didn't say that, what do you mean? And you often find with those kind of dynamics as well, is they will often blame you for gaslighting them. It's a very interesting, very toxic dynamic. The other thing that you tend to find as well in those types of relationships is that you will resign your control to them in many different ways and different forms. So it might be that you have a really strong value or strong opinion about something, and their opinion is completely different, and they'll often sway you to their way of thinking. So, you know, if you find yourself losing yourself in that kind of relationship or changing yourself to stay in that relationship, that's often a sign of trauma bonding. Then what you often find is the victim in the trauma bond will often blame themselves for not being enough in that relationship. They'll often be the ones that are doing the work, people pleasing, treading on eggshells, doing all the things to make that relationship work. And you're probably thinking, why? Why are they doing that? Often the reason why they are doing that is usually I'm going to call him the predator. The predator tends to overpromise or share a vision for the victim to believe in. So it's often something on the lines of, oh, things are going to get better. Things will be amazing. Once you've sorted that issue out, we're going to be up here and we're going to be enjoying all these amazing things. So they'll actually feed a story. Like you can often have people dangling things like children, you know, saying, oh, we're going to have kids together. You can have things like, oh, I've got an engagement ring. So once you've sorted and once we're in a better place, I'm going to propose, and all these different things. So they'll use things to make the victim stay in that cycle and stay in that relationship with a higher hope of things getting better. So you find this a lot in these types of relationships. If you've noticed that you have been in this cycle for more than 2 relationships, then there's a chance there that you are someone that is highly empathic, but also it shows that there could be some childhood patterns, relationship patterns that could need addressing in order for you to break that cycle. Okay, super, super important, because there's nothing worse than going through these cycles, because they can be extremely damaging to your mental health, to your identity, and also to the way that you perceive yourself. So it can affect your future moving forward. And that can be things like your career, it can be future relationships, it can be friendships and things like that too. So if you do feel like you've gone through those types of relationships, please do something about it. Get the support that you need to be able to grow from these types of relationships. If you want, I also offer a free 15-minute call, so you can book a call with me and we can have a little bit of a chat and find out what's going on and find the quickest way for you to break that pattern. Because at the end of the day, everyone deserves real, honest, and genuine love that lasts, and I want to support you to be able to enjoy that. All right, so take care, lots of love, and I shall speak to you all soon. Bye for now.